owned 7 boats, 3 motor torpedo boats from World War II. And it all led on from there. And I also like using second-hand materials because they've got a bit of life in them already, whereas you use new materials and they're a little bit dead. Well, they haven't lived. A lot of my inspiration comes from what I see. I know what shapes I've got to fill in, so I try and think what particular pieces would work and go from there. I was raised in a village just outside Gatwick Airport, Should. I was always not as good as other people in my class with a paintbrush. I was quite good at craft. When I finished my first, I did a degree course at Loughborough, came out of that, and about the only proper job I ever got was when I was in my 20s. I ended up in Fiji, spent a bit of time on boats there. I taught myself a bit of carpentry while I was doing it. Just going around doing like small building projects and helping build, just supply materials and what have you. Taught me a bit and I taught them a bit, so it was all good fun. When I finished there, I went travelling around the Pacific, ended up in New Caledonia where a mate of mine was working in fisheries. He was working in development stuff, so he come up with a design for a kit-built boat for the local fisherman mate, and he wanted to try it out, so I built a boat for him in his garage. Fascinated with boats ever since. Well, I moved to Shoreham in 1986, so I've lived here for 31 years, mate. I think Shoreham's a very lovely place. It's got lots of history. It's got a river which Brighton hasn't got, or Worthing. I went to art college in 1997, Northbrook, and I went to their 3D department, which was great fun, and whilst I was there came up with several novel ideas. Figured out you could actually create a square and a circle out of a 3D object, but you have to look at it from a particular point of view. And here we have a square and a circle. Okay, so that should be fairly circular and that should be fairly square. That is a squircle. I came out of college with the knowledge that I could patent this idea or I could copyright it, but then it's just bits of paper. I thought the best way of copyrighting a squircle was to build it.
What's he done?
The boat we're sitting on at the moment is Furder. Furder's the boat I live on. Furder was a sunken wreck when I came out of college in 2000. Took 8 months to get her floating. She's an old Portsmouth ferry, built in 1929. She'd been sunk for 7-8 years. Spent 8 months, I think, digging her up, getting rid of all the mud inside her and welding panels on the outside of her, and finally we got her floating. Brought her over from about half a mile away on the other side of the river back to this mooring here. Once we got her floating, we could just start doing design work. The space seemed to suggest a split level lounge in the stern. And then it was getting a couple of squircles, and after that it was just a case of working out the rest of the space and how to fill it up. A bus or a coach or anything that sort of size. I got all the windows and everything else for 200 quid. They leak like sieves and they pour black gunk all over the place, but you can't have everything. Well, the most interesting part of this boat, I reckon, is I don't know, the squircles are quite fun, but the found materials of the wings which weigh about half a tonne apiece, and I've got absolutely no record of how I got them up there at all. Venture, which was my first boat, which I lived on in 1986. Got a reliant rubbing from the scrapyard where I also got the coach, the fire engine, and they all came from the same place in the good old days when they didn't have quite so much health and safety. Dodged the only boat I've got which I named myself, which I came up with a name for, and named after the fire engine make on the side of it, and that's a holiday accommodation. When I was a kid we had Tonka toys. I bet, do you remember Tonka toys? You might do. Anyway, Tonka toys had great big wheels, so we got some tractor tyres. One bed. Oh, that's all a bit of fun, and you can wake up in this beautiful old lifeboat. So there's several boats in this particular vessel. Here's another one. And this is a boat as well. All the partitions made out. All old stuff, you see. There's a bathroom in there and bits and pieces. And there you go, Frisbee's bench.
I work for Hamish. I've been here since last October, and I'm working here because I want to learn about carpentry and general boat making. So the work is generally different every week. As you can tell, I've been working a lot with paint and red oxide in the last week. But other than that, I've done insulation, a bit of carpentry, working with sealants, working with glues and stuff like that. So working with Hamish is, very laid back. I kind of choose my own hours. I'm not on a particular schedule, so it's very easy going. But at the same time, I'm doing stuff I've never done before. Yeah, it's like a learning process, but a relaxed one.
This is a tricle, and so there you go. You should have that. The sunken wreck, which is currently the Opinio, which is sitting out there. It's got 3 tricles on it, which are the main reason why I haven't completely abandoned that project, because I don't want to waste all the bloody energy I put into building those tricles. I aim to get her floating later on this year. This is the Penturcle, as in 5-sided. That's on the back of the Heron, and a very pretty roof it is, even if it is a derelict boat. Hey, one day I'll get them floating.
So Hamish built this boat, spent a lot of time and effort on it, partly to celebrate the success of building a boat. He took it out to sea, fitted it with a big sea engine, and then he brought it back in, triumphant on his ocean voyage. And basically, what I think is he didn't basically support the boat enough when it docked. It's mud flat, so you have to support the hull, and basically the hull snapped in half, so letting water in, breaking the whole boat. I think he's not come back to it because of a lot of time and energy and probably stress that he just sees in this boat wasted.
Clive, which is the workshop. Just making a window at the moment, so that's a window which is going on the front of Verda, and it's 8 time-consuming job, but it should look very pretty. Got good neighbours. We own our own moorings down here, which makes them particularly desirable as far as boat dwellers go. Most boat dwellers have limited freedom to do what they want with their boats, but because we own the land, we don't have to obey any rules. We've got very little restrictions, so it gives us a great deal of freedom to design and live how we want to. There's certainly plenty of navigable rivers which aren't currently used for anything very much at all. I think it would be delightful if more people could live on houseboats.